Back from the break, and we're talking about allergies here with Dr. Tom Butler, and we're talking airborne problems, the pollen and dust and those type of things, Tom. But let's talk about what can be done and what you can take. As far as on the natural side, as far as approaches, we know juicing obviously would help. The inflammatory process of omega-6, folks, the omega-6 oils that we have in our diet, very, very high as far as corn and soy and those type of things in our diet. Wheat. Slimming back on, wheat, slimming back on that and increasing your omega-3s to help with the inflammatory process. Quercetin, Tom, I find that is a really good product. It's helping with that, vitamin C and bromelain and those things to help strengthen that cell wall, because basically what happens, these allergens come in contact with the cell, cause the cell to basically leak histamine, and that's why you get these antihistamines out there. They're blocking that process. But the best thing to do is strengthen that cell wall where it doesn't respond in that fashion. So there's things that can be done.
Well, let's don't forget milk, because you know I'm not against milk, but that is a mucus forming food, and that's one of my first one. So I tell people, if you've got a mucus problem, let's stay off the mucus foods for a while anyway, at least till we get over this, because we don't need any more.
No added mucus, right?
No.
That's true.
So, you know, too many nuts or too much meat, that's the things people don't realize. But even the gluten in the wheat can stimulate the mucus formation.
So back to that gluten-free, cutting out the gluten, which is basically, again, your wheats and your...
you can try, Todd, you know the substitutes, the quinoa.
Yes.
And some of the others.
Well, and I'll tell you this, folks, you get off no matter who, and you quoted the study of the mucus or the gluten and getting off of gluten, two groups, and one that had the problem, one that didn't have any problems, and then they both improved. Why? Because, again, folks, wheat is a fairly new introduction as far as in the evolutionary game here. We ate wheat even in biblical times. They ate wheat, but they only ate small amounts of it. They didn't eat large amounts like bread every day and that sort of thing. They ate small amounts. So certainly a different course. The wheat was different then as well.
Well, that's a grain. And think about it, Todd. You know, let's go just back a couple generations, and most of the foods that we eat that are animals weren't grain fed. They were either grass fed or just wild chickens, or eat bugs, and now a lot of them are feeding on grain before we feed on them.
So the omega-6 is high in their fat, and if they were grass fed, they'd be high in omega-3 and conjugated lanolinic acid. Correct. So yes, certainly we could do those things. Now the mucus producing things that are out there, we know dairy is one of them. What else produces mucus as far as on the diet side of things, Tom? The gluten, we know.
We talked about it. Anything that sends you down that arachidonic acid, drives you away from the alpha-linolenic, it'll dump you the wrong way. It'll make you more acidic. It'll make you higher, like I say, on the interleukins, which is the pain. So, if, I tell people, when they tell me, I've got to have I hate to use food things, but let's say I have to have this certain soda and this certain candy bar, and I'm like, well, just imagine that as your shoulder pain. When you're eating it, just eat you a big pile of pain. So, and then when they tell me they eat a fish oil pill and they burp a little, I'm like, just imagine your pain going away with that burp.
That's exactly right. That's it. That is a very good point, because so much of the time it does go back to what we're putting in our body. No doubt about that. Let's talk a little bit about the water side of things, and that's not only helping as far as thinning the mucus and thins at number one, but also to elimination. And the one thing that I gave a speech one time, and I talked about the importance of water and trying to get everybody off pop and diet pop and all these other things. And one guy asked me a question. He said, so you don't want us to drink tea or unsweet tea or anything? He goes, what do we drink? Right. And I thought, is that I'm on candid camera or something here? And I said, H2O's been around for a couple of million years, however long it's been here. I don't know, but it's something obviously that we miss sometimes is hydration. And so while we're on that issue, as far as the importance of hydration, Tom, we hear different theories. Some people say a half gallon a day. Some people say a gallon a day. Some people say 3 gallons a day, which is insane. Right. But I think at least a normal, healthy person should probably consume about 3/4 to a gallon a day. Correct?
Well, here's the thing. It's like a lizard in the desert never drinks water. Well, he lives a long time. Well, he eats a bug. Well, the bug has water in it. So that's my answer to you. It's not all. So if you love watermelons and apples and you eat oranges all day, and why would you want to
maybe make a big difference there if you're eating?
Or if you're a juicer and you're drinking a bunch of juice, and I know, in the old days I used to be rough on my patients. I'd say, no, coffee doesn't count and tea doesn't count, but it counts. So
it does count, right? It is liquid.
Even the soda and stuff counts. But the thing is, you don't want to have one good thing and then have 2 or 3 bad things.
And then
so you're saying the water. Water, tea,
and
coffee.
The one thing, and we know one thing is for sure when it comes to water over these other, even though yes they do count as far as the volume. The solution for pollution is dilution. So like you really, like that is certainly true. So the more you can dilute these things, I tell people when they drink their coffee, I drink lots of coffee, but I always dilute it. I turn around and dilute it with water.
Correct.
So the more you can put in the body of clean, fresh water, obviously the better off you are. Now, take that back. If you're doing juicing and you're juicing fresh vegetables and things like that, that might even be a step above water because it has the enzymes and cleansing effect and all of that. So who knows? Just hydration is a part of that in the thinning process as well, like you said.
We talked about the toxicity. So you don't have that issue much with water yet, but anyway, if you go into like the diet sodas, there's proponents that deal with this acid base and some of the chemistry of it, and it could take you 20. So this solution to pollution.
There's dilution. Yes.
Yeah, dilution. So the thing is, with maybe a diet pop or something, it might take you 20. So who in the world is going to sit around and
drink?
Right?
I don't know how you could do that.
I don't know, but but you don't have to worry about that with the other.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, at the break we were talking about things that you could do outside of the supplement realm.
Right.
And we were talking about just basic cleanliness and when it comes down to, like you're saying, you come out from outdoors and you come inside, you're bringing a lot of this. Because, look at your car. It's covered in the spring. Well, you're going to be covered as well. So it's going to be in your hair. Not my hair, but it's going to be on your clothes. So you come in and wash your hair. I wash my head. But it's obviously going to collect in these, like in your hair, in your eyebrows, in your eyelashes, in your nostrils. I'm a big fan of the neti pot, which is also washing out the nostrils. I know whenever I'm raking leaves, Tom, that's the worst time for me when I'm raking leaves because that mold stirs up. And I go for 2 or 3 days of hacking, coughing, and spitting and all of these things. The neti pot tends to help because it washes out that area. But I never thought about the clothes, the hair, that sort of thing that's still there.
And what if you have your critters out there, and maybe they're indoor pets, but they're out there playing with you? As soon as they come in, you ought to get a damp rag and wipe them off. So you need to, get that done. And like you said, you may not have all the hair, but before you go to bed, you don't want to wallow around in your pollen. So you want to get that off. And like we talked about, you can wear a hat and the pollen keeps from getting so much in your eyelashes, eyebrows, and so you're stopping some of that too.
Yeah,
so
and I notice
that's
people
a simple thing.
Yeah, and then some people walk around, especially with serious allergies, walk around with a mask.
Yes, the pollen mask.
And I understand that, especially during that time. And it brings up a good point about the animals. If they're outside, they come in. It may not be the animal dander that's necessarily causing your allergies. It may be the pollen or the dust and dirt. So it could be that angle as well as the cleanly side of it and the cleanliness of them, because we don't go around and roll around in the grass. My dog does every day. And
think of some allergies as an overreaction to a protein molecule. So Todd, you may not have any allergies to dust, but if I took a big handful and
threw it in my face,
threw it in your face, you would be abnormal if you didn't have some reaction. So some of these recommendations, like drink the fluids, drink the hot fluids. I'll tell you what, even eating spicy foods, you guys will notice this if you eat that hot soup or hot and sour soup. You'll notice you have to blow your nose after that. You're thinning the mucus, you're getting it running, you're actually causing circulation to go to the sinus passage.
Interesting.
So
and then maybe even wasabi. I know.
Yes.
I love wasabi or hot mustard, the horseradish, exactly, which really causes that. So thinning it down and then moving it as well.
Moving and getting the circulation.
Interesting. The circulation is a good point. And then, of course, more than anything, keeping, and I think that's kind of with any aspect of the body, it's movement physically. You got to make sure that the bowels move. You want to make sure the mucus moves, the lymphatic systems move. So it's truly about movement in all areas.
How about a quick acupuncture treatment? So yeah.
You're
just
not
use it for sinus.
Yeah.
You have a slight bit, don't you?
Oh yes.
I can detect some.
Oh yes.
So yin tan.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn Chinese to this. Just kind of watch my fingers. So right between the eyes, right just above where the hairline is. That's like gallbladder 22, 23.
Okay.
So don't worry about the numbers and names.
And just pressure.
Gallbladder, yes. Gallbladder 14. Who cares about the numbers? Just forget all this. And
Interesting.
Just remember the places right by the side of your nose.
Interesting. And so all of those pressure points.
Yes, this is LI20, large intestine.
Wow.
And then if it's affecting your eyes with pain, you can go to the bladder,
the bridge of the nose.
Bladder. And you guys do this on accident when you get a headache anyway. Everybody pinches, don't you?
That's a good
you're
point.
doing it on you don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it right. Stomach, and like I said, gallbladder. If you just want to remember the simple ones, just go up to the base, go in between, and go on each side of the nose. And believe it or not, some of these are weird as heck.
Pressure points here.
Yeah, when you go here, these will work. And then I always like, if you guys have real bad allergies, I always like going to balancing points. So kidney 27, stomach 12, spleen 21, and liver 3 on the foot.
And then you're just adding pressure.
Think of those organs a little bit, can you? So we're talking about, remember we were talking about the diet thing?
Yes, okay. Stimulating.
I know, but gallbladder, remember what I was telling you?
Yeah.
Large intestine, right?
Yes.
Okay. Stomach. Doesn't it kind of doesn't this all kind of, that's what I tell people. They're always like, how do you remember all that stuff? And I'm like, it kind of comes together.
Yes, it does.
If you go enough places, they all
tend to come back. Well, I tell you what, I'm more relaxed and I feel a lot better. I just need to find a massage therapist to give me a face massage on it.
That's right.
That would be great. So we're going to come back, take a break, folks, our final break here, and we're going to come back and wrap this up on allergies. So hang with us. We'll be back.